What's up, YouTube? And, well, let's be honest, my close friends and family who are watching this video, I love you all. Today, on Let's Wine About It, we're gonna make my famous apple pie wine, which is also not famous, but I'm trying out a new recipe. I've done it once before. We're gonna change some things this time, and I'm really excited about how it's gonna turn out. So, to make this wine, the first thing you're gonna need is apple juice. So this apple juice, actually, it's unfiltered, organic. I bought it at Whole Foods and it actually came in this jug. If you buy apple juice that doesn't come in the jug, you're gonna need to buy what's called a CARBOY. It's a 1 gallon glass container, looks exactly like this, and I have a link in the description. An assortment of brown sugar. I have 3 right here, light, medium, and dark, because I've used them for other things, and so I'm just gonna mix them up to get the amount we need. You're going to need 2 cinnamon sticks and 1 stick of vanilla. And then you'll need 2 funnels. 2 is very important, okay? Don't do 1. And then the optional stuff, which it's really helpful if you want to know specifics about your fermentation, but it's not essential. Turkey baster, a hydrometer, and a little graduated cylinder. This technically isn't a graduated cylinder because you'll notice there are no gradations, but you get the idea. And then you'll need yerba mate, but that is really just for me because I have caffeine addiction, so. All right, so the first step, I guess, is just to explain what's gonna happen here. What we're gonna do, oh, wait, I forgot about the most essential ingredient, yeast. So this is Safe Ale SO4 yeast. The reason I picked this is that it has an alcohol tolerance of 10% about. What that means is that when the alcohol content of our wine reaches 10%, the yeast stop working, they die. So that means that I'm going to get a brew that will stop at 10%. Certain other yeasts will take it to 15% alcohol, will take it to 20%. I don't want that. That's too much alcohol as far as I'm concerned. It won't taste good. So that's why I picked Safe Ale SO4. Again, available on Amazon. You can click in the link below and get several packets of that to use in various fermentations. So what's gonna happen here is we're going to take this jug, whatever, of apple juice. We're gonna add a little bit of sugar. We're gonna add our spices, vanilla, cinnamon sticks. We're gonna add the yeast. And then over 3 weeks, the yeast are going to ferment what's in here. That is to say, they're gonna eat the sugar that's in it. They're gonna consume it. And in that process, they will produce carbon dioxide gas, which we'll have to have a way for it to escape, and alcohol. That's what we're going for. So after 3 weeks, almost all the sugar will be consumed and you'll have about a 10% alcohol by volume beverage. And it should taste, hopefully, like apple pie. The other thing, just realized, I forgot one more essential piece of equipment. I'm not gonna edit it to include it at the beginning because I think it's kind of funny that I'm making these mistakes and I think they're worthwhile. So let me go grab that. Okay, the other thing you need this little bad boy here. This is a BUNG and an AIRLOCK, okay? What this will allow you to do is, what will end up happening is you'll put this right in here in that opening, and this will allow the carbon dioxide gas that's produced to escape without letting anything in, like bacteria or bugs or oxygen. So this is essential. Again, link in the description below the video. Buy one on Amazon. They're like $2 or $3. Well worth it. So the very first step to making wine, making any type of alcoholic beverage through fermentation, is to sanitize all of your equipment. Everything that you're using that's going to come into contact with your wine or before wine ferments, when you mix everything together, it's called must. So there you go. I'm going to use that word because it's correct. Everything that comes into contact with your must needs to be sanitized, because if you don't do that, you risk bacteria getting in here because it's sitting for like 3 weeks, okay? So if there's bacteria in there, mold could grow, you'll destroy everything and it will be awful. So just buy some sanitizer. I buy, it's called what's it called? STER SANZTIZER. And again, I'll have a link in the description for Amazon, and you can just buy some. You use like a little teeny bit, mix it in half a gallon of water, soak everything in it, and leave it out to dry. And then you're good. You're good. Don't skip that step. So step 1, sanitize all of your equipment and such. You don't actually need to sanitize this because the juice came in here, it's already sanitized. So the first thing I'm going to do is pour out some juice. Actually, I'm going to fill these up just I sanitize them to create some space, some air, because what we're going to do is we're going to mix everything in and I'm going to shake it up. And having a bunch of air in there is good. You want to oxygenate everything at the beginning, which I'll explain. So first thing I'm going to do is pour this out. That's pretty good. All right. Okay. Step 2. Measure out a pound of brown sugar. You can use whatever kind of brown sugar you want. You can even use white sugar, just regular cane white granulated sugar, but I'm using brown sugar because it has molasses in it, which I think will, you know, get the apple pie flavor that I'm looking for. I've been told they use brown sugar a lot in baking. That's why. Okay, pound is 16 ounces, in case you didn't know that. All right, I did some things off camera just because I didn't think they were super important to record, but they were important for me to do this right. So I've got, right now, I have half a pound of brown sugar. And I know that a pound of sugar in a gallon of liquid will increase this density, the density, by 0.046, okay? And my target density is somewhere around 0.090, okay? So the juice by itself has a density of 0.05. 0.050, I guess, is the full way to say it. All right. So it's got about already a pound of sugar in it. I want 2 total pounds because I want the yeast to consume 2 pounds of sugar to give me that corresponding amount of alcohol, which will be about 10%. I'll have another video explaining all about how it works in detail, making sure it's clear as mud. But for now, all you need to know is I want a total of 1 pound of sugar. So I've got about half pound brown sugar. I'm going to use this thing of granulated white sugar to get to that total of 1 pound. So we'll do about half a pound, obviously. That's how that works. All right. Okay. Now that's a lot of sugar. Holy crap. Yeah, okay. All right. Now, we're going to go ahead and put it into our fermenter. Hope I'm still visible amidst all this stuff. I'm going to go ahead and like mix up the brown sugar in the white sugar because brown sugar is just got some more moisture in it and it can be kind of difficult to get through a funnel. So hopefully the the white sugar can help. Okay, that took forever. Holy crap. If anybody has any better ideas of how to get brown sugar through a narrow opening without clunking up is a word, I think. No, I don't think it is. But anyway, let me know, because that sucked, but here we are. So step 2, or no, step 3, because step 2 was adding sugar. Step 3 is shake it up. Mix it all up thoroughly. This will do 2 things. You're gonna mix your sugar in there and get it all in solution, so to speak. And then the second thing you're gonna be doing is oxygenating it, which is really important because at the beginning stages, because what happens when you put your yeast in there is they will use oxygen among other chemical compounds to create a colony, to reproduce. And then once they reach a certain size, then they start consuming the sugars and producing alcohol. But oxygen is essential at the beginning, so you want to get that thoroughly mixed in there. Brilliant. Okay, step 4. Add if you followed my step where I took excess liquid out, pour it back up and get it in there. I will say I actually sanitized the entire surface here, the table, So I'm fine setting things down on it. So it got real foamy. So we're gonna go ahead and let that clear up a little bit so I can add more without risking anything. So I'm gonna go ahead, fill it more, like just pick right up from where we were, for where we left. I'm gonna go and use a different one actually, because this one hasn't had any liquid on it. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a good shake again. Make sure it's all homogeneous throughout. Looks homogeneous to me. All right. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and take a reading. And remember, this is to measure the density of the liquid to make sure that I've got enough sugar in my brew to get the total alcohol at the end of this whole thing that I want. Because you're not gonna have more sugar than, or I'm sorry, more alcohol than you give the yeast sugar to work with. See? Yeah, this is the math. The math works out. The density of my liquid, of the must, is 1.091. So that's right where I want it to be. You'll notice if you have a hydrometer, there are other increments, other measurements on it. The by volume with the percentage, what that tells you is, because it relates it to the specific gravity, because it's the same line, right? So right now, 1.091 correlates with like 12%. So that what that means is this has 12% alcohol by volume potential. That is to say, if the yeast ferment every bit of sugar in here, I will have 12% alcohol by volume wine. And that's what I was going for. It's more like actually 11.5. But I actually want to have some residual sugar left over. I want some sugar not to ferment so that it's sweet. And that's what will happen because I have a yeast that only ferments out to about 9%. So that extra 3%, what would be alcohol, will be left as sugar. Make sense? So 1.091, as long as I remember that, we're good to go. Make sure to write that down somewhere because you will forget if you don't record it. Now, for the final step, I'm gonna add 2 cinnamon sticks because I read around online similar recipes called for 2, so hopefully it won't overpower anything. 2 will be just enough to get like some good cinnamon flavor. It smells like cinnamon. Really does. I don't know. Okay. And then 1 vanilla bean stalk or whatever. I actually took a knife to it and I split it open. I read that helps it to release those vanilla flavors. It might release some of the seeds in it, so you gotta be careful when you eventually like siphon this into bottles. You don't get those seeds, but we'll talk about that when the time comes. Okay, and the only thing left to add, finally, we're here, is some yeast. Now usually, packets of yeast come in about 5 grams, and then I usually do half a packet for these gallon amounts, per 1 gallon of must. This is actually something like 11 grams, so I'm not gonna use half a packet. I'm just gonna eyeball it. I've done this enough. I would use like 1/4 of a packet. It's really not too critical to get that exactly right. It's probably enough. I hope that's enough. Give it a good shake, get everything together. What happens now is you'll take this, you'll put it in a cool, dark place. I actually am forgetting a step. We need to put this on it. But first, once you do that, you'll put this in a cool, dark environment, like in your closet. Give it 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, maybe even 5. Let it go as long as you see activity in the airlock. Because what will happen next is carbon dioxide gas will push through, on and out, and you'll just see bubbles consistently. As long as you see bubbles, let it keep going. Don't touch it because it's still fermenting. And what also might happen is you might see a lot of foam start to develop up on top here. It's called krausen, and that just happens when yeast like implant or whatever at the top of the water line and start foaming up and producing just byproducts. And that means it's working. So I'm gonna go ahead and just call it there, not add any more juice. I'm gonna place this bad boy right on top. Okay, I realized what I did. It's kind of moist. I hate that word. That's a horrible word. Never use that. It's wet, and then so is the inside here, and it doesn't like grab onto the sides when they're both wet. So I'm gonna get a paper towel, just dry them both off. Yep, just get a paper towel. Make sure it's nice and dry so that it sticks in there. Alrighty, and that is it. This is must. It is fully fermentable. All you have to do now, like I said, is take it, put it in a cool, dark place, give it 4 weeks probably, and then check on it. And I will have a video like documenting exactly what happens step by step and showing you what to do. But you've done everything. And now, unless the yeast are dead and you have terrible luck, it will work. And I'm excited to see how this turns out. We're kind of exploring this together. I've never made this recipe, but I think it's gonna turn out awesome. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, please. And we'll keep on keeping on. Bye-bye.